New York State has one of the lowest suicide rates in the country, but residents of rural areas like the North Country face a disproportionately higher risk of suicide. That's due to factors like social isolation and a lack of access to mental health care. But it's also due to stigma, people being afraid to talk openly and honestly about suicide. A new mural in Plattsburgh is bringing it out into the open. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And from SciTech Business Solutions, training and consulting services to help businesses grow. More information at citec.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, June 12th. First up, the union representing Canadian border agents called off a potential strike yesterday. The Public Service Alliance of Canada announced it's come to a tentative agreement with the Canadian government. Full details will be announced tomorrow once they've been shared with members. The agents originally planned to strike last Friday. They extended their agreement deadline twice to avoid a job action strike and resulting border slowdowns. North Country Assemblyman Billy Jones says the strike would have been, quote, detrimental to the North Country economy. He says the agreement allows day travelers to continue to visit the region during the peak summer season. 3 airlines are vying to become the next air carrier at the airport in Ogdensburg, and there is a front-runner. Catherine Wheeler reports local officials will make their picks this week.
Breeze Airways, Boutique Air, and Contour Airlines have all submitted bids to handle air service at the Ogdensburg International Airport. Contour is the current provider. Each airline has proposed where flights will go, how often, and how many passengers they can take per flight. The Watertown Daily Times reports that the Ogdensburg City Council has voted to support Breeze Airways. Breeze is proposing daily flights to and from Dulles International in Washington, D.C. on 138 passenger jets. But Breeze doesn't yet have an agreement with a larger airline. Without that, passengers traveling beyond D.C. would have to book separate connecting flights. The Times reports that Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority leadership is also favoring Breeze. Officials say the airline's plan aligns with the vision to grow the Ogdensburg airport. That's as the airport is undergoing a multi-million-dollar expansion and remodel. Officials with OBPA will meet this Thursday to finalize their choice. The U.S. Department of Transportation will make the final decision as the airport receives federal stipends to support air service. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio.
A Lake Placid attorney has ended her campaign for Essex County court judge to take a job with the state. According to the Adirondack Daily Enterprise, Amy Quinn was set to appear on the Democratic and Working Family Party lines this November. She was appointed earlier this month as a judge for the state's Court of Claims and ended her candidacy last week. Quinn's withdrawal leaves Essex County District Attorney Christy Sprague as the only candidate in the race. She's running on the Republican and Conservative Party lines. The Democratic and Working Families parties have until June 16th to forward a new candidate to the Board of Elections. This next story discusses suicide. It's about 5 minutes long. 2 organizations in Clinton County want to use art to help combat the stigma around talking about suicide. Outside Art and the Clinton County Coalition to Prevent Suicide are partnering on a new mural in Plattsburgh. It'll be painted later this month and dedicated at the Lake City Arts Fest in August. Champlain Valley reporter Kara Chapman spoke with Dina Giltz-McCullough from the coalition about the upcoming mural.
Dina, we're outside Warren Tire, the future site of the You Matter mural, the wall facing Stafford Middle School. What is this mural going to look like?
I was thrilled to give you some stickers this morning of exactly what it's going to look like, but it has in big letters the words "You Matter," and then there's a huge sun that's surrounded by semicolons, which are also important for suicide prevention, and rays of sunlight. There'll be a box that includes 998 information, which is for the Suicide and Crisis Hotline, how to get information if you or someone you know is in crisis.
When Outside Art has put up these murals around town, like the intention is, beautifying the space, maybe sharing a slice of local history and that kind of thing. So what's the intention and the story for this mural?
For this one, it's specifically for suicide prevention and awareness. When I called the Boyer family, the owners of Warren Tire Service Center, which is where we are now, it was the first thought the coalition, which is the Clinton County Coalition to Prevent Suicide, had for a location. And when I called Jen Boyer, who's the general manager here, I just blurted out last summer we'd had 3 suicides in a very short amount of time, and I knew the family of one of them profoundly. And through COVID, we were talked about doing this mural, and we had different locations, and then everything shut down. And this became a very much point in time. This is the time we need to do better for our community.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that, like wanting the mural to be right here by the middle school?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a beautiful long wall. You'd have to actually get the dimensions of it, but it's very, very long. It does face the middle school. It also has a beautiful view right onto Broad Street, so that you've got students for the middle school, you've got students for the college, you're right across from St. John's Church, and there is a vulnerable population, and we know that it happens very early when kids are exposed to a lot of different experiences than, we were talking earlier about your experience in middle school, and I think it was maybe hard in the early 2000s, but now here we are, 2024, it's even maybe more hard to be a middle school student with all the social media demands and everything that's going on with them. So there was an intentionality to it.
Dina, can you talk about, why this mural is important to you, why you're involved with this cause?
Absolutely. Our oldest son, Sean, took his own life 19 years ago. Sean was a great student. He got in trouble at school and never had any signs that this was going to be the outcome for his life. I think he just had a bad situation and made a permanent decision to a temporary problem. We were shocked, and at that time had 2 younger children at home, Colin and Megan were just 14 and 12, and we invested a lot of our time in really raising those kids and doing the best we could, because of suicide has a high recidivism rate in families, and I was well aware of that. And I look at this and I go, well, how profound is that? Both Colin and Megan were in middle school here. And I just tell you this as a way to say that it's deeply personal. And working on this project, it reminds me that it's been 19 years. It's so long, but it's also so short, because I can remember being right there at that moment with that again. And I've been surprised by how much this has really touched me, and how many people haven't necessarily told their own story before, but because this mural is going up, they've come forward. And I just feel like people are telling me things and telling me stories of deep hurts that they've held on to, because the stigma surrounding suicide is very prevalent still, and the judgment around it too.
That was Dina Giltz-McCullough speaking with Champlain Valley reporter Kara Chapman. If you or someone you know is in crisis or just needs someone to talk to, you can call or text the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline anytime at 988. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Moira and Ben Cato of Jay. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.